The Brooklyn Nine by Alan Gratz, a novel in 9 innings. Third inning, A Battle of the Republic, Brooklyn, New York, 1894, Chapter 3. Arnold Schneider was a hero. Just about every boy in Brooklyn heard that King Kelly was at the Pigtown field, and they rushed down to crowd him and pepper the baseball star with 1,000 questions. Kelly answered them all with a wide smile, though just slightly smaller than the smile Arnold was wearing. "What was it like winning the pennant?" "Which time?" Kelly asked. "The first time, with Boston. Tell us about being sold for $10,000. What'd you do with the money, Kel? What's your monkey's name?" "Anson," he managed. "You mean like Cap Anson? What was it like to play with him?" "Oh, he's a tough player, all right, but an even tougher manager. The first day of practice, he ordered me to lose 20 pounds and put me through the mill with special meals and supervised dog trots. Of course, I've a new boss now," King Kelly said. He smashed Arnold's hat farther down on his head and rubbed it around. "This one's got me cleaned up and living straight again." For the first time in his life, everybody wanted to stand near Arnold, to talk with him, to be his best friend. He was giddy with the rush of it all. "Tell us about Corcoran," one of the boys begged Kelly. "And George Gore." "What about Fred Pfeffer?" Tommy Collum said. "Fred Pfeffer, Fred Pfeffer," Arnold taunted, and everyone laughed. They laughed. "Ah, now, Freddie was a great friend of mine," Kelly told them. "A great friend indeed. He and I used to go out drinking, lemonade." Kenny smiled. "Freddie was a proponent of inside baseball. Do you know what that is? So-called scientific baseball. He even wrote a book about it." The boys begged Kelly to show them how it was done, and he asked for a bat and ball. Arnold handed him his own bat, the one his father had brought home from the Civil War. "Now this here is a fine bat indeed," Kelly said, weighing it in his hands. He stood back from the boys and gave it a swing. "Trade you me glove for it, Arnold." The boys gasped as Kelly gave Arnold his baseball mitt. It was thick and padded like a pillow, the kind that was in fashion among the catchers in the National League. Arnold marveled at it. None of the boys could afford a proper glove like this. It was heavy, like a great mitten with a leather-clad lump of stuffing forming a U along the base of the palm. Where the broad thumb met the rest of the mitt, there were 2 small strings of leather to hold them together. The other boys watched on quietly as Arnold put his hand inside the massive thing. He was just able to bend it along the middle, and for a moment he imagined himself clamping down tight on an Amos Rusi fastball. "Marvelous piece of cowhide, ain't it?" Kelly said. "A trade, then?" I can't," Arnold said, and he told Kelly the story of how his father had traded for the bat during the war. He sighed and handed the glove back. "I wish I could," he said. "Ah, well, you can have me glove anyway, laddie. No trade." Arnold felt the wave of envy from the boys around him, and he knew he would never be picked last again. Ever. Kelly put Arnold behind the plate and arranged the rest of the boys all around the infield. "Scientific baseball is about playing the percentages, see?" Kelly said. "If you know Oyster Burns always pulls to the left side, why, you tell your fielders to shift that direction. If Big Dan Browthers likes to give the ball a Baltimore chop, you play your boys in, see? That's scientific." Kelly showed the boys how to drill themselves on the basics of inside baseball, then taught them a few tricks they wouldn't find in any book. How to fool base runners into thinking you'd overthrown their bag when there was really an outfielder standing behind them to catch it. How to keep an extra ball in your pocket in case you lost one over your head. And how to skip bases when the umpires weren't looking. After that, they played a few innings until Anson the monkey snatched up the ball and led the boys on a wild chase for it all over Pigtown. "I've had a fine time, laddie," Kelly told Arnold, "but I'd best be getting back. I have a show to do tonight, and I find my act goes better when I've had a little something to drink first. And I don't mean lemonade. I'll tell you, lad, I'd rather face 10,000 angry baseball enthusiasts on the diamond field than go before a friendly audience in a theater. Cal, is it true what your valet said? That you won't play again next season? Not won't, laddie. Can't. I'd play if I could, but no one will have me. But you're not old. Cap Anson's older than you are, and he's still playing first base for the White Stockings. Kelly sighed as the boys laughed and scrambled across the field after the monkey. I don't know how he does it, laddie. Cap Anson, truly I don't. They keep moving the mound around for starters, and the pitchers don't throw underhanded anymore. Nowadays, it comes in hard and fast, kicking and screaming into the pitcher's mitt. Amos, Rusey, Cy Young, Kid Nichols. Pitchers are bigger and stronger and wickeder than ever before. And they hurt like hell to catch, by the way, even with all that padding. And now I hear they're actually thinking of counting foul balls as strikes. Mark my words, there won't be a batting average over .250 in all the league. He shook his head. Baseball tain't like it were in the olden days, laddie. Me days of playing in the big leagues are through. It's the stage for me now, even though I'm not on Broadway. Heck, I'm in Brooklyn, and I'm not even playing Prospect Hall. King Kelly whistled, and Anson broke off his game of keep away and came scurrying back with the boys behind him. Time for me to be off, lads, Kelly told them. There was a general moan, but it turned into well wishes and goodbyes soon enough, and then calls for a new game when Kelly had gone. Me and Arnold are captains, Joseph called. Arnold knew he should have felt triumphant. He was a legend. He had brought King Kelly, the $10,000 beauty, to Pigtown. But how long would it last? How long before he was little Arnie again, picked last every game and only allowed to play because of his bat, and now his glove? When the excitement of King Kelly went away, what would be left? There was only one thing for it, he decided. King Kelly would have to stay. The sun was just setting over the towers of the Brooklyn Bridge as Arnold made his way north toward Bushwick. He couldn't wait to tell Kelly his news. And now the pitcher holds the ball, he said, repeating lines from Casey at the bat. And now he lets it go. He stopped mid-run and took a swing with his father's bat. And now the air is shattered by the force of Kelly's blow. He cheered for the hit. Kelly had gotten a double, not struck out like Casey had, then broke into a jog the rest of the way to the Gaiety Theater where King Kelly was appearing again that night. 3 ladies with big poofy dresses were making their way inside when he arrived, and he slid in behind them. He had just stepped into the lobby when a hand grabbed him and yanked him back. The hand was attached to an ugly brute with a scraggy beard and a wandering eye. All right, let's have your ticket then, boy. No, Arnold had to get inside to see King Kelly tonight. It couldn't wait. He stammered, I'm here to... He looked down at the bat in his hands. I'm here to bring King Kelly his bat. The ticket taker gave him a piercing look with his one good eye, then let him go. Should have used the stage door then, he said. Kelly's backstage. Arnold tipped his cap and ran to the front corner of the theater. Up on the stage, he could feel the hot gas lights that burned along the edge, and he felt the eyes of the audience on him, as though he might be some part of the act. He quickly ducked behind the heavy red curtain. One of the Dutch knockabouts pointed Arnold toward a room at the back of the theater where many of the acts were preparing to go on stage. Arnold cast about and finally found King Kelly in the corner, already dressed in his light blue Boston uniform and cap. As he approached, Arnold couldn't help imagining him in a different color uniform. Kelly squinted as Arnold approached. Well, if it ain't me shadow, he turned. How the devil did you get down here, lad? I told them I was here to bring you your bat for tonight's show, Arnold said. He handed him his father's bat, which Kelly again weighed appreciatively. Well, it's a fair sight better than the one they run me out there with. He nodded to a bat in the corner. Give her a try. Arnold picked up the bat. It was light as a feather. Stage prop, Kelly said. He took a drink from a glass sitting next to him and then refilled it from what looked like a whiskey bottle. Just a little something to fortify me for when I go out in front of the cranks, he explained. I've always found that... I've got you a tryout, Arnold interrupted. He could contain himself no longer. A tryout with the Brooklyn Bridegrooms. Kelly sat speechless for a moment. What? He asked finally. I skipped out on the game at Pigtown after you left, and I went to Eastern Park and talked to the bridegroom's manager, Fouts, while he was shagging fly balls in the outfield. He said for you to come by the field tomorrow before the game, and he'll see. He'll see what? You in action. The way you played today at Pigtown, you're a far sight better than either of Brooklyn's catchers. That was against a bunch of gutter snipes, laddie. Good as you lot are. You're hardly National League caliber. Game time is 1 o'clock, Arnold went on. Fouts said to be there an hour before the game. You can even use my bat. Kelly stared at the bat in his hands. Maybe I could still play. I did tell Monty I still had a few good seasons left in me, and I meant it. You'll be great, Kel. It'll be just like it was before, and you can come play ball with us at Pigtown some mornings. Not every morning, I know, because you'll have practice, but it'll be a kind of practice, see? Kelly gave Arnold his big, famous stage smile. Sure, laddie, absolutely, just like it was before. You're a good kid, Arthur. Arnold. Kelly picked up his glass and drank it in a single gulp. Arnold, then, Kelly said. You're a good lad, Arnold, but tell me, promise me one thing, lad. Anything, Kel. The ball player refilled his glass. I want you to promise me you'll never take a drink. Sure, Kel, of course. Kelly ignored his own advice and finished off another glass. His face twisted into a grimace, and Arnold watched him shiver as the drink went down. Better skedaddle, laddie. It's just about time for King Kelly's big act. Sunday morning, Arnold ran all the way up King's Highway and out to Eastern Park on the far side of town. I'm here with King Kelly, he told the man at the ticket window, dashing inside before he could argue. Arnold had remembered to bring Kelly his father's bat the night before, but not Kelly's glove, and he'd need that for the tryout. The grooms were already taking batting practice, and Arnold searched for King Kelly and Dave Scissors Fouts, Brooklyn's left fielder and manager. He didn't see Kelly, but Fouts stood near the dugout, making out a lineup card. Mr. Fouts! Mr. Fouts! Arnold cried. The manager took a moment to recognize him from the day before and made his way over to the stands. Brought me Mike Kelly, have you? Fouts said, his voice heavy with doubt. You mean he isn't here? Arnold asked. It had to be past noon already. He said he would be here, and he knows the way to the park. He's played here before. Look, kid, I don't know if you're pulling my leg or if someone's pulling yours, but take my advice. Leave it alone. Even if Kelly could play, that man's got a monkey on his back. I know all about his monkey, Arnold said. The monkey's name is Cap Anson. Dave Fouts had a good hard laugh at that, although Arnold didn't see what was so funny. That's good, kid. Maybe you do know him after all. But believe me, Kelly's through. No, he must have overslept is all, Arnold said, running up the aisle. I'll have him here before game time. Kid, wait, Fouts yelled, but Arnold was already gone. Outside the park, he hopped one of the trolleys heading west, paying a nickel for the privilege, but saving much time. He hopped off near the Eastern District and dashed the rest of the way to Kelly's boarding house, ignoring the look of the man behind the chicken wire as he ran through the lobby and up the steps. Kel, Arnold said, bursting into King Kelly's room. Only it wasn't King Kelly's room. A stranger rolled over in the bed, cursing at Arnold and throwing a shoe at him as he pulled the door closed. Did he have the wrong room? The wrong floor? The wrong room? He retraced his steps. No, this was the room Kelly had been staying in. Back in the lobby, Arnold went up to the man behind the screen. Do you know if King Kelly has changed rooms? The man put down his newspaper and frowned. You know Mike Kelly? He's my friend, Arnold said. You know where he is? No, I was hoping you could tell me. The man harumphed. Well, your friend bailed owing me $12. Don't know how he got his things out with him, but he did. Must have climbed out the window. You gonna pay me the $12? I don't have $12. Yeah, right. The man flicked his newspaper back open. You tell that bum he owes me $12.